Hello and welcome back. I believe this is episode number 5 of the things that I found in my Thrifting Retro episodes. Things that I should have been showing at the end of the Thrifting. But now I'm doing all these episodes right in a row just to knock out everything, get you caught up with everything I did find. So here is number 5. Here's something I found again from one of my favorite stores on the Berlin Turnpike, Savers. Here we go. We got Thor. I never really gave a thorough look at this, but it does say the year on his feet, right? I don't know. I can't see where I'm at right now, but I'm sure most of you figurine collectors know what this is. This articulation is fantastic though. His feet have joints, his knees have joints. It's a little stiff, but well, the left is pretty good, but the right one's a little stiff. And because of his skirt, you know, his legs don't move that far forward, but it is soft enough so that you could pose it and not the skirt, the guard, whatever you want to call it. But it's like a soft rubbery kind of thing. His abdomen bends, his not his waist, but he kind of flexes from the torso. He's got hinged ball shoulders and really awesome realistic looking hands that look like they might even come out, like there was supposed to be extra parts. Oh, his hand was broken there. And here's his hammer, and this hand is really loose. I mean, but he's got like the strap that's kind of meant so that way he can hold it down on his side. His head does flex, but his hair prevents his head from moving all around. It doesn't go up or down, just left or right. But the cape has got like the soft rubber. It's really good. Pretty good articulation, not the best, but I do like this figurine. The likeliness of the character from the movie is just wonderful. It's done really well. So I only got this at Savers for about $3 or $4. I know this is worth a lot more than that. I don't know if this is McFarlane, one of the McFarlane figurines, but measure is pretty good, probably about 6 inches. It's a good sized figurine. I cannot believe I found this just sitting around. So I'm happy I found it. I love the realism and it's just awesome. Again, another figurine. This one is one of my favorite heroes when I was a kid. This I found at the Toy Expo. That was held, I believe, in Meriden. It's a retro toy expo where they had more G.I. Joes than anything, but they had other toys, Voltrons, stuff like that. This one is not a totally classic toy, but obviously done for collectors because it comes with a totally articulate figurine with excellent features, muscle tone. You can even see like some of the folds in the fabric. His head goes left to right, up or down. Hinged ball shoulders. Great maneuverability. It's so easy to move him around and his hands don't just fall apart. And the hands even move, you know, forward and backward because of the ball joints. Legs are not elastic, but they almost look like they are, but they're not. They're hinged ball joints again. Great articulation altogether on this thing. Feet move left to right, up, down. It's totally for collectors. And it's got removable parts where you can take like his hand, his web slinging hand, and you can just pop it right off and snap in the other one. Now he's grabbing something. I love this. This is really cool. And this one, he's got like a regular fist, and so maybe this one's the right one too. Yeah. So he can make both hands a fist, like he's riding a motorcycle, I guess. Then he's got his Peter Parker camera and his head. His head, believe this or not, it comes off. It does really come off. There we go. See, Spider-Man looks really weird now. And then you put his Peter Parker head on. It's not the easiest freaking thing, I can tell you that. But okay, I got it. So now you got Peter Parker's head when it moves up and down, left and right, and you can just sling the camera right over his head. There's Peter Parker with his camera and his head with the mask off. And you just pop his head right off again and put on the Spider-Man head. Not the easiest thing, but it's still, you know, it's great for collectors. Really great. I love it. See, there we go. That one popped. Okay. So this is really cool because when I was a kid, my grandmother got into an accident when I was 4 years old, and I was in the hospital for I think a few months. And my grandmother got me this huge Spider-Man that had like fabric on the outside, and you can take it off. It had like little buttons in the back and stuff, you know. But it was huge. It was probably like it had to be like 8 to 12 inches. I don't remember because I was so small, but it was gigantic. And because she got me that, I really fell in love with Spider-Man. So he was like my childhood hero. So this thing is just absolutely awesome. The features on it, he bends at the waist, his torso bends. The articulation is just absolutely awesome, and it's great. I love this thing. For another figurine, this one I also got at Wild Bill's Nostalgia. They had like these little tag sales on the outside, which I showed in my previous episode. And this little old lady had a bunch of old classic toys, and a lot of it I didn't really care about, but I do want to have like a Mario kind of feature. And this was just really cool, you know, Mario Racing, except this is like a hovercraft. Looks like the tires kind of folded out, and they don't roll or anything like that, but you know, it's got wheels underneath. I'm not sure if this was a Burger King toy. I can't really see from here, but it moves around. And I got, you know, it's not Mario, it's Luigi. But I liked it. I just wanted to keep it just for decoration because I am a Mario fan. I have many Mario video games. This is not really retro, like I didn't thrift it or anything. I actually picked this up at Walmart on clearance. These things are pretty popular. I see these pop up on YouTube quite a bit. It's a miniature version of the PacMan arcade machine. As you can see with the little lock, you can put on your bag or something. And look at this. Look at the header of the arcade, lights up. Great sound. Sound is on the bottom. It is playable. It's very hard to do because of the teeny tiny little buttons, but it does play. I think I'm supposed to be playing now. I don't. Yep. So you can see I can press left, right. You know, it's a little hard because it's a little plastic joystick. Okay, it was supposed to play a demo. I didn't think I was actually starting up a game. So, there you go. I mean, look at it. You know, doesn't this bring you back to the 80s? The old arcade cabinet art on the side, the header lit up, screen on the inside. Sometimes I like to put this up close to my face and pretend I'm back in the 80s. You know, it's just so nostalgic. It feels so good to hear the sounds and play the game. Have the old cabinet. I would love to have the original PacMan arcade cabinet, or Miss PacMan actually. I like Miss PacMan better, but this, the artwork itself of the original PacMan cabinet really brings me back. Major retro feels. I don't know how to shut this off now. There we go. Forgot I had that switch. Now for another little figurine, and once again it is Spider-Man. This one is not that old. This is a Hasbro. Sometime around 2000s. I don't have my glasses with me. PacMan. Okay, so I don't have my glasses with me, but this is some around 2006, I believe. But it's not a posable figurine. It's just really cool. I like the, you know, details on this little teeny tiny, what is it, like 2 inches? Great detail. He's slinging a web. Still in the cardboard. And I like it. It just looks cool. So, may not be worth anything to anybody. I got it for $3, of course, it says right there. And I also got that Mario with this at that Wild Bill's Nostalgic, you know, outdoor thing that they did. Here's my next thing. Topps, a whole year set, still unopened. It has 40 years of baseball special like edition, 1991, so it's about the 1990 season. There's a lot of great players on here. Wade Boggs is winding down his career here, you know, on the Red Sox. There was just so much going on. This is about the time that I started getting a little angry at baseball because players were starting to demand more money and strategy was fading out. Just getting strikeouts and home runs was all that mattered, but having this entire collection unopened is just fantastic. I am afraid to open it up because I just would love to keep this preserved, but Having this old style plastic on here isn't going to really preserve it though, because the moisture is getting inside. You know, the wrapping back then wasn't that airtight, so I may open this up. And when I do move to the other states, I'm planning on giving these to my older brother because he's the one that got me into baseball, so I might as well give him the collection that I have. Alright, now on to the next thing. Video games. Back when I was young, my mother couldn't afford video games, and one day I think one of her friends that she worked with gave her kids Atari 2600, which included about 200 games. We had so many freaking games it wasn't even funny. We had E.T., Mousetrap, Carnival, Video Pinball. We had so many. We had the PacMan, Miss PacMan, Scooby-Doo, all kinds of games. Combat. And the thing is that, like, when I got punished and I couldn't play games, I used to love just holding these cartridges and just knowing that I have the arcade game right here in this little box. In this little cartridge right here. These things were well designed too, because they hid the pins away, and a lot of these cartridges still work. This was one of the bigger mentioned games, even though it wasn't anywhere close to the arcade. It was the terrible translation. The Miss Pac-Man one was far better. I haven't been able to find that one yet. Here's Pac-Man. This game was a huge hit back in the day. This is Defender. Loved that art. Asteroids, everybody knows who that is. And this was done really well on the Atari 2600. It was good translation. Yar's Revenge, totally original. You're just fighting basically a boss all the time. I love it. Great game. Didn't know that I had already picked it up. Picked it up again. I collected these at Wild Bill's Nostalgia. And I also got them at the Retro Gaming Expo, and there was some other place I picked it up at. So I got them all really cheap. I can't believe how old these are. These are like the granddad of all video games, and yet you can get them really cheap. And you can find Atari 2600s. The console usually costs quite a bit though. I found it for actually not that much, probably about $100. They had it at Wild Bill's Nostalgia inside of an entertainment center for about $110. I think it was. I did decide not to pick it up. It looked a little dirty. But, you know, I'm happy with this for now. I will pick up an Atari 2600 when I do have the room. And I do miss it. I did pick up something to give me the Atari 2600 feel, though. And I'll show that in another episode. It's something I picked up recently. This game I loved very much when I was a kid. Maze Craze. Fantastic freaking game. It was kind of like Mousetrap. You just basically, I think you were the cop chasing the robber, or the robber escaping the cop. I don't know. That's it for episode 5. And this one took so long, the battery died. And if this battery dies, I might have to move on to my GoPro. So, on to episode 6. Hit the like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.